ladies. So, it's been just over 2 months since we had the whole Blackout Tuesday thing, right? Now, a non-profit organization called Women in Control, shout out Nadia Khan, their founder, they have done a little bit of research into the UK music industry. So they're looking at musicians, they're looking at live music events, and just people from the bottom of the top to the music industry. And a report of theirs called #Seat at the Table has found that Black women, we hold 0 CEO positions within the music industry and only about 3% board positions. So I need to know, what do you think? What kind of effect do you think this has on the music industry as a whole, this lack of representation? And what do you think we can do to change it?
Well, I'm going to speak for myself and say what I think, not what I know is happening, but more what I think is happening. And I'm just going to take it from the standpoint of, I think whenever there is whenever there's power, right, and the people in power don't look like, I guess, the people below them, then there's always, how do I phrase it? When there's someone in power and there's somebody below them, the person in power who doesn't look like those initial people won't care about their issues as much or will marginalize them in a certain way. I don't know how to explain it. Like because everyone at the top, once again, is what I think, because most of the CEOs at the top may be white men, they won't care, I guess, about their Black female artists or their Black male artists or about the Black females that are working within the wider music industry and their issues, their challenges, what's stopping them from doing the best that they can at work, because they don't relate to those issues in the same way, and they're probably not even thinking about those kind of issues. So what initially I think is happening by not having more Black women in these high held positions within the music industry is that people who look like them, who are in the music industry, their stories are not being told, their voices are not being heard. What I think we can do to combat it, it's kind of like the same old thing of saying, like, we need to get more people in power, but we also need more allyship. And I know this is a bit off tangent, but I think it's almost similar to like the whole colorism thing we were talking about last week, about like Black women, there being more light-skinned women in the hip-hop and misogyny, in the sense that I feel like sometimes when there aren't Black women present, we get another person's idea of what a Black woman should be or what a Black artist should be. And I feel like that's what we've seen pumped through the music industry rather than an authentic story. But I feel like I'm on a thought train. Does anybody want to jump in?
No, I hear what you're saying. Like, I feel... From what you're saying, I felt like, remember a few weeks ago, like it was in the news about Misha B and Alexandra Burke and Leon Pinnock from, what's her group? One Little Mix? Little Mix.
Little Mix.
I knew that. I just wanted to let you struggle. I just wanted to see you struggle.
Anyways, those ladies came forward and they were saying, oh, it's difficult for Black women. And you're like, well, like you're saying, Anissa, if there's no one representing you at the high levels, no wonder why they're asking you to mold into, having straight hair, don't be too Black, don't be too this, smile more. Because it's people who might have a conscious or unconscious bias trying to tell them the best way to be. And I think now we're starting to see these are why we have these problems, because we don't have any representation that is making decisions on these people's behalf.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think those statistics are actually petrifying because, Linda, you really said 0?
Yeah,
0.
Not about 0.
Not one single chairperson. Not one single CEO. That's wild. And I think I think for consumers, for us who we listen to music, I don't think people really understand how much work and how much control goes into just one artist, because there's a whole group of people that decides an artist's look and their sound and the company they keep and all of these things. And when you don't have the final say on those things, and the person who does have the final say on it has never experienced your culture but is in control of how your culture is going to be presented, I think that makes for trivial representation of Black artists.
Yeah. There you go. Luanda, you summed up what I was thinking, but I couldn't put my thoughts together.
It's true though, but it's a huge mess, because if you think about it, so I hate to throw it out here, but we only have a handful of black female artists in the UK music industry, and I'm gonna concentrate on things like rap and R&B. And of those handful of black artists, there are particular ones that are pushed further than others, and typically those are the lighter skinned girls. And I'm not trying to bring colorism into this topic, but it just goes to show. It never left, did it? It's been sitting here waiting for us. But the fact of the matter is that there's no one like us at the top making these decisions. And not only is it there's going to be an issue with colorism, but once again, we are going to be forced to kind of play out everything from a male point of view and not a woman's point of view. That's why you get all these female rappers. I'm talking about actually, I'm not just America here as well. All it is the JJ this and the JJ that, and I know that's not what I wanted to say, but we gotta keep it PG.
And their big butts.
And their big butts, because it's men, and I think what we're doing right now is the only thing that can be done, because I know women that are stepping out and becoming artist managers. I'm seeing women that are stepping out and handling certain business within record labels. I'm still yet to see women who are, open up grassroots live music venues, but I know things are difficult now with Rona. But I think the things that we can do, we are currently doing them.
Yeah. I think it's also really interesting, and I know Luanda's going to jump in on this. But something that I thought was really interesting is that for a lot of these trade unions that the study was talking about, it's not that there's a lack of women. So, for example, there was the ISM trade union. They have like a male CEO, a male chairperson, but then their board is 41% women. Their team members are 71% women, but their black women make up 1% of teams. And it brings into this idea of intersectionality. So when we talk about feminism, intersectionality, people are starting to say the issue that we're having with feminism is that really it's only promoting white females. Like, you can see white females at this company saying, oh, well, women make up 41% of our board. Women make up 71% of our teams. But I'd have been like, and what's the breakdown of those women? Because out of that, you've got the percentage on the white. So it's not a step forward for all women when all women aren't represented. And that's how we seem to be in society. And I think that's what we're seeing in these companies. Are like, yeah, but our women are 50-50. But it's like, yeah, but it's only one type, so it doesn't count.
Well, dare I say, some could argue that at least it's a step forward in the right direction by including women in the first place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that. but
do you know what I'm honestly wondering, though? Because if it's that high number, like with the 70% being just on the general staff, why aren't these women of color being promoted to these higher positions? Like, that's my next question. Like, why is that not happening? Well, this is the thing.
It's 71% women, but only 1% of that 71% are black. And I think that's where we need to start looking about, like, what we're going to do for the future. Well, first of all, we need to start taking accountability and understanding that there's a problem. Like, someone has gone to the... so not the burden, but someone has taken to task to put together this survey and this study. So now it's time for them to start looking and say, okay, there is a problem. What do we do? Where are women stopping at in our system? So it seems that we have a lot of women who are team members. We have a lot of women that are making it to the board. Why is no one making it higher than that? And then to start breaking down, how do we then start doing it? Do we bring in a quota and start to say there must be at least 10 women on the board, and out of that there must be 5 from ethnic minorities? Like, sometimes you have to put these quotas in because people people won't start doing it themselves until they say, actually, as a company, we need to make sure that certain groups are represented, because subconsciously people are going to hire people that look like them. And I don't always think that's down to it's not always down to racism. Yeah. It's not always down to racism.
It's just a thing. It's just something that happens, and people sometimes, I think, people forget to include other people unless you're told about it. But I think the difference is when you're someone from a marginalized group already, you're already considering everyone else because you've had to do that for your whole life, and no one considers you because you've never ever been part of the picture. So I think in terms of progress and what people can actually do, I think anyone that posted a black square, anyone that hashtagged BLM need to actually commit to real change, because these words are nice, but they're empty if there's no action behind them. And if you think about something like, if you have a business and a business wants to open another branch, there are logistics in place. You map out the logistics of that next step. So if you are a business and you say, we have a problem here with representation, show me the paperwork and the timeline that you're going to use to fix it, instead of just tweeting something to give me the impression that you're here to be progressive. Show me the paperwork and show me the timeline. By 2025, we want A, B, and C.
Yeah. But you know what? Here's the thing. I'm really happy that we're talking about this, because if you guys remember, there was a huge hoopla with regards to Channel 5, Channel 4, BBC. I remember quite a few of the radio stations as well. They kind of published their figures with regards to representation of black people. They didn't quite go into detail of black women. Yeah, it was all over LinkedIn. And you know, loads of them. Channel 5 made a statement. Channel 4 made a statement. Like, I think the more popular this particular report, #seat at the table, is, and the more noise it makes, then the more likely we are to see a change in the UK music industry, because the mainstream media, broadcast media, have all, you know, said, oh, you know, BBC have put this huge kind of statement out that they're going to make sure they include more diversity behind the camera as well as in front of the camera, and other channels followed suit, and so did other radio stations too. So I think the more popular this movement is, the more people speak up about it, then the more likely that, you know, live record labels will be looking at their demographics and seeing where they can hire upwards. And I think that's what we just need to do, keep making noise.
My question is, though, do you think this could be a bit of a cultural thing? The more that you've just said it, like, it's really just hit my head, in the sense of maybe the reason why we haven't had great numbers of black women in these spaces is because black women just haven't chose to be in these spaces.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I don't believe that whatsoever.
But I'm not. No, but Linda, I'm not just. No, the guys, honestly, they're my train of thought.
Sorry, you want us to engage with it first. Sorry.
No, yeah, my train of thought. Fair enough if we're talking about now and within the last 20 years, but I'm thinking, like, historically, if I'm going back to my mom, if I'm going back to my grandma, if I'm going back to their generation, how many black women at that point were trying to be in the media space? I don't know, but what I'm saying is I don't know if it would be as much as it is now. So maybe historically that's why we haven't been represented in those spaces.
Girl, I'm going to interact with your thought. I'm going to interact with your thought, right?
Please.
Because don't forget, right? For example,
entangle with it.
I'm going to entangle with it well. I don't know if you know, there's an artist called Burna Boy, yeah?
Yeah.
And his mum is his manager. And she historically worked with one of the biggest artists to ever come out of Nigeria called Fela Kuti. Yeah, ooh. She worked with, yes, exactly. So I don't think it's a case where only now women have wanted to have a leg to stand on in the music industry. I don't think it's only now that women wanted ownership of, you know, live music events. I don't think it's only now that women wanted to be part of record labels or, you know, agencies where they promote talent. I think women have always wanted this. I think black women historically have always been go-getters, regardless of what society has said to us. Well, regardless of what society has said to us, has, you know, is as far as we can go. So I don't think it's just something that's happening now. I think the difference is now more people are talking about it. We have the internet, we have our own outlets. Before, we were controlled by mainstream media. Let's not lie, for a while in the UK there were only 5 TV channels. I remember everyone got gassed when Channel 5 came through, you know, but now, let's not lie, it was BBC 1 to 4 and then Channel 5 came, we were like, rah, then we got things like Sky and cable. But you know, looking at that, now we have our own outlets. We have blogs on Instagram that have more followers and more influencers than some of these mainstream media accounts. So because of the digital age we're living in, we have our own voices, and mainstream media have to take notice, which is why I do not agree with what you said, Anissa.
But that was a good point that you made about Burna Boy and his mother and manager, because I didn't even know anything like that. And then even now I'm thinking, but was that happening in the UK or was that happening back? Because then it's like the whole Western thing, I think, adds another layer. That's what I'm just thinking.
Because I don't know, like, the fact is, we're talking about people in the music industry, like, behind the scenes, but let's just take into account how many people want to be in front of it. If we're thinking about how many people from black and ethnic minorities want to be singers or producers or whatever, I can only assume there's that many people who want to get involved behind the scenes, but just haven't been given the opportunity. Because, from the past to what we see now is like, oh, you can make us money, so we're happy to put you in front. But making the big money in the back, no. Let's save that for the white boys.
And That's exactly why I was saying what I said earlier about how they're going to represent you, even though they've never experienced what it's like to be you. Because I think, you know, everyone loves that narrative of the ex-Disney star going wild. But really, most of the time, I always just see it as someone, as an artist who finally has leverage over the way that they're presented. Because we don't know what's going on in the contracts until the contracts end. And we see the real version of these people. So even what you were saying, Linda, about we have our own platforms now, you can actually, you know, have an authentic version of yourself and of your art on those platforms, instead of someone being like, oh, well, you don't tick this box that includes like 3 bullet points for every black artist that we have, then I don't want you. I think it's important to see women, especially black women, in these seats of power, because it inspires us to believe that we can do it too. Like my niece, I have a few nieces. One of them's 15 and she looks up to like Zendaya. She looks up to Maya Jama. Like she sees these people who have power and influence, and for her, she's just like, I know I can go after my dreams because they went after theirs.